Update, so we're into the computer connector. Down there we've disconnected the computer. So we're trying to find where this 9.8 or 7.7 volts is. But it certainly does not emanate from the computers, because we've disconnected that. And you can see Roddy's got the power probe in there. You want to just stick it in, Roddy? There you go. We've still got 7.7 volts. So as we suspected, it doesn't start at the computer. So we're just going to do a bypass, because we've not got a good enough wiring diagram to know where it starts. So we've jerry-rigged it. You can see that we've took a feed from the cigarette lighter down through a little test light so we can limit the current, and then it goes right all the way into the pedal. So it's revving up, we're going to take it a run. Aye, so that's it, the light goes out as soon as we start to drive her. But the acid test is whether this will drive fine. So when Roddy takes his foot off the accelerator, that light lights. That's it, because it's finding an earth. She's driving fine. I'll get back to you. It's going great, so can't complain about that. Lovely winter sun. Plenty of oomph, eh?
Yeah, there is.
So we're going perfectly fine here. So we need to just find the route of this wire, and we're kind of convincing ourselves it's somewhere in the fuse box, because it ain't from that ECU. So, oh, here we're off now. So we've gave it a run, and it's been absolutely flawless with this setup down here. And you can see we're idling nicely. So that's usually a problem with Nissans, they do not idle. So if you want to know the theory of this is what Roddy told me it sounded good, so I'm going to share it with you. So what I think is happening, the 12 volts is no coming from the computer, as we said, but that 7.7 volts is not enough. So when it's hitting the ground side of that switch going back to the computer, it must sense a certain amount of voltage or current, and it's not getting that, so that's why we've got a hard fault. So we are sending 12 volts even through this 100 milliamp light. It lights seeing that 12 volts, and the computer's quite happy, and the code will clear. And as soon as you step on the throttle, it knows it's off idle, it's not got a hard fault, and it then refers to the potentiometers, the two potentiometers. And as what I was saying already, I've never came across a system like that in my life, that it wouldn't have an idle, but once it sees the two pots, you think it would just go, but it's no happy. So there you go. Well, right enough, the accelerator's a safety system, and if it's no happy with any of it, it cuts it. That'll be the theory. If one bit's no right, it can't trust it, so that's why it goes into default. So we're now going to start pulling fuses to see where the feed is. The car was going perfect, and I was going to do the bypass, and then the code came back up again. So what we have now is, I've managed to track where that wire goes to. It doesn't go to the ECU, this green wire. It goes to this one up here, the BCM. So that's where the power comes out this module and into that wire there. So you can see, oops, see that, sorry, green yellow wire there. So I'm going to probe into this, and Roddy's going to shoot power through it and see if we can get, just see if there's good continuity with the wire, and if not, let's do that, it's to blame. Right, Roddy, go and shoot power through that, lad.
Ready?
Ready? No, alright, we'll try and get a better connection. Right, so we've tested this wire. Roddy's shooting a voltage right through it, and I'm on it. So watch this. Press it. Right. So there's good continuity in that wire. Let it go, my man. So I'm blaming this up here, so we'll measure the voltage when we plug this guy back in. Assuming it does need 12 volts. Something no right here. So we've plugged it back in. You can see it there. And you can see that our voltage has now returned. So that's where it's coming from. That wire there. 7.5. So I'll take my scope and go up to that wire and see if we're getting 7.5 volts coming out of that. And indeed, if that's the case, it's the body control that's the problem. So we'll take that out of there. We then go into this body control module. Voila, what we have there? 7.7. So it's coming out the body control, going down to that switch down there, and that's the problem. So, must blame that chappy there. Well, all we can do is get a wiring diagram of him, check power and grounds, and take it from there. But our 12 volt bypass was working tremendously. So we managed to get on our scan tool. We've now got it working. See that off accelerator switch? So when we press the accelerator, that should be it working normally. So, and that's still with my, you can see my bypass is still in there. So, we'll need to test this vigorously, because the problem is the body control no putting enough voltage. And watch this, if I then disconnect this, oh, never done it this, I usually hear the idle change, I'll rev it. Oh, it started working again. And that's it gone now. Look, look. I can press the pedal, no response. So it's still like, we still have an input from that switch. See that? But it doesn't like it. And if I go back into, so I must be powering something in that circuit. Read fault codes. This will be back. There we go. Bingo. But if I then power back up with my 12 volts, you hear the idle. It idles up. I've usually got to switch it off, clear the fault codes. Yes. Read the fault codes. So I can start it up, and she revs up, and then we're ready to go. Read fault codes. Now,